So we've all seen the videos about what a great driver's car the new 991911 is, but there's not that many videos about the finer details of the car. So in these videos I'm hoping to address this, and in this video I want to talk a little bit about deviated stitching, a subject that I had a lot of trouble getting information on when I was ordering or configuring my car. In fact, you might be forgiven for not realizing deviated stitching is available at all because it's nowhere to be found on the public configurator. It is on the dealer configurator, however. It's under an area called Z Offer or Porsche exclusive, and it's listed. All the options are listed here. You have to pick the option and then you have to pick the color. If you have a look at the colors, theoretically there's about 10 colors available. However, I tried to pick white and they said that wasn't available, and I ended up going with pebble grey, which is as close to white as I could get. So it depends. The colors seem to change on a regular basis, so you might want to check with your dealer on that. Okay, so if I don a GoPro on my head, we can go and take a look at the deviated stitching options that I put in my car. And I guess we'll start with what I consider the most important of the three major areas. The three being seats, the door panels, and the rest of the trim. The seats are probably the most important one, and the seats are known as the front and rear deviated stitching, and they're about $1,100. Let me just check my cheat sheet here. Deviated stitching, front and rear seating, $1,100, yeah. And so that covers the stitching around the edges and the details around the bolsters here, and in the rear as well, on the sides and the stitching down here. So that's a nice detail. If I get into the car now, we can have a look at the door panels. The door panels appear to be a bit of a bargain at first because each item is around $390, but once you get it all done, it's over $1,000. And so it's broken down into four, I think. You've got the center panel, which is this stitching here, for $390. Then you have the upper door trim up here, $390. Then the stitching on the armrest, which for some reason is only $310, which is this bit here. I guess it's a little shorter. But then you get the door handles, which is back up to $390, which is this bit here. So I got all of them and I think it looks great. I guess if you dropped one of them you wouldn't really notice, but I think it would look odd if you took the armrest but not the door handle. And it would also look odd if you didn't get the rest of it as well, which what I mean is the rear side panel, this bit here, so the stitching continues around. And then if you didn't get, of course, the dashboard, which is also $190. So the stitching runs all the way around the entire car. The other area that I got stitching is this center tunnel. The center tunnel is an expensive one. It's $1,190, plus you also have to add a $80 deviated stitching XHS something or other, which specifies the color of the stitching. So I guess it's just over $1,200, but for $1,200, for that $1,200 you get this center console upgraded to the soft leather that you get on the seats. You get the stitching around the seat belt and the stitching up here, and it adds stitching to this center console as well. So overall it's a nice package. The only stitching I didn't get was the stitching around the steering wheel, which is also $1,100. And in hindsight, I guess since I've spent all this money on the other stitching, I probably should have got the steering wheel, but at the time I was worried that I was overdoing it on the stitching and it may look too much, but I've seen it now on some of the other cars and it does look great. But I don't really miss it. I love the stitching and the rest of the car. And because I ended up going for an interesting option of leather on the center console, and leather around these edges, which is normally aluminium or walnut or the carbon. And the carbon was what I was originally going for. I was going to put carbon here and carbon here. And the only thing that put me off about the carbon, I love the darkness of the carbon, but I didn't like the plasticky feel of the carbon. So in the end, I went with leather, and I love the leather here. It just continues the lovely leather feel of the center console. And I love the leather here because it gives this darker look. And if I just stuck with all leather, it would have been quite a dark car, but with the deviated stitching, the light white deviated stitching, it gives a contrast and a lift to the car that I love. So in the end, it's the deviated stitching that everybody that gets into this car comments on, and it's certainly something that I think everybody should consider with their 991, because it's it really gives a personal touch. To give you an idea of what the coloured stitching would look like, I found this car at my dealer. It has the red stitching and the carbon, and also includes the steering wheel stitching. This car also had the red, the guards red seat belts. It's a little porno for my taste, but this is a black car, and I guess it works quite well with the black. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful. I've listed all the options that I got on my car in the description below, so if there's something you'd like more information on, let me know and I'll do a video on that. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Thank you.